Happy Thursday evening to everyone out there in Aggie land. My name is Brian Holloway, your host for the Aggie Pridecast, and my guest this week is Samara Dobbins Johnson, former women's basketball player here at North Carolina A&T, and also a North Carolina A&T Sports Hall of Famer, all-time great point guard for the Aggies, played for Tim Abney, and had an assistant coach by the name of Billy Edgerton. So I'm sure that name sounds familiar to some Aggies. And so it's very exciting to have you here. Samara, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Brian, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you tonight because, you're a historic figure in the history of North Carolina A&T women's basketball. You played on a historic team, and something tomorrow night is going to be very historic. North Carolina A&T postseason tournament game sanctioned by the NCAA, and so that's going to be a very exciting moment for women's basketball in the program. And in 1994, you guys became the first team to represent the women's program in the NCAA tournament. You guys played Tennessee, Pat Summitt, historic coach. And so that was an awesome moment for you guys. And recently, you guys celebrated a 30-year anniversary because I think the men won it that year too, which was a
That is
very exciting time in Aggie athletics and the history of Aggie athletics. And so as you reflect on it 30 years later, what comes to mind for you as these young ladies go into that moment tomorrow night?
actually it's just the mindset of winning. Of course, in these tournaments, you lose, you out. So at this time of year, you should be playing your most peak playing, team ball. And it's a mindset. It really is. It's a mindset that you don't want to go home. So they have to dig in, dig deep, pull together as a team, trust one another, trust the coach's game plan, and execute.
Do you remember what your thoughts were? I mean, you going into, well, first the MEAC championship game. Do you kind of remember kind of what your thoughts were? Was there butterflies? Was there nervousness? Do you remember that moment at all?
Most definitely, because in that year, most people don't know we were seated number 4 going into the tournament. And of course, being the underdogs, people are not expecting you to make it to that championship game. But we were just playing very good basketball. We didn't want to go home. And we were determined as a team to make history for the program. So it was, so when I can remember that semifinal game against South Carolina State. We just jumped out on them. We got out, got a good lead on them, and things were just gelling. Everything was falling for us. Later in the game, we started getting tired. They start coming back, but we was able to hold on and bring that victory to take us into the championship game. So to answer your question, yes, of course, there's butterflies. That was a very new experience for us, but we were ready for the challenge.
And if I remember correctly, Howard had kind of pretty much been a dominant team in the MEAC back then. And so, what was that like trying to go into that situation, trying to knock off the Giant?
Well, earlier in that year, we actually won a home game against them. And it went into double overtime. So we knew we were capable of beating them again since we were able to beat them at least once during the regular season. But again, at championship time, everybody wants it. So we just had to really dig in and have that mindset of who wants it more. But yes, Howard was a very talented team. They were coached by a talented coach, Tyler. I'll never forget her. Um, but the Lady Aggies stepped up and we was ready to bring home the chip. So it was a great experience.
Did it make it better when you saw the men win it? I mean, how much more fulfilling was it that your brothers came alongside you guys and won that championship along with you guys?
It was awesome because, like you said you referenced as brothers, and they were our basketball bros. Back when we were teams, we traveled together, and when I say traveled together, we were on the same charter bus. So we really got a chance to really, bond as a family. We were our biggest supporters, especially on the road trips. We knew it wouldn't be as many Aggie fans, so we had to cheer for one another. So once we were able to be named the champions in 1994, and we were just hyped during their game, it was awesome that they were able to pull it out as well. And it's something that we can always go down in history as the first team to sweep the MEAC.
Yeah, and from as you reflect on it, because these young ladies are gonna reflect on it at some point in their life after tomorrow night. When you reflect on some of that, some of those moments now, what comes to your mind?
I've been watching, of course, this is March Madness, been watching a lot of basketball, watching a lot of championship games, and those moments of being able to step on that ladder
Mm.
and climb to the top of that ladder to cut those nets down. That's just a feeling that I really can't express enough how it feels to be at the top to cut your piece of the net, because that's just a symbol of something that you all work together for as a team to earn. And that's one of the greatest memories of being able to get on that ladder and cut down those nets.
Talking with Samara Dobbins Johnson, North Carolina A&T Sports Hall of Famer, women's basketball player in the '90s, and North Carolina A&T. This version of North Carolina A&T's women's basketball team plays. Drawing a blank on UNCG. Man, plays UNCG tomorrow night, 7 p.m. at Corbett Sports Center. First time we've hosted a postseason basketball matchup here in Corbett Sports Center. Of course, we've had some NCAA track and field meets here. Division III championships were here a few years ago. NCAA regionals, Division I, were here for 3 years, and so certainly we've hosted in some NCAA events before, but never a postseason game. So that's going to be an exciting thing. If you had an opportunity to talk to these ladies, kind of what advice would you give?
I would just tell them that, this is a great opportunity to be able to have the home court advantage. When I even heard the rumblings in the news that we could have that chance, I was like, this is just a great experience for these young ladies. And not to mention that they have been very successful playing at home. So that does give them an edge and advantage going in to know that they want to dominate their home court. They got something to protect there, the pride of Aggie pride, and it's a sisterhood. So this is the time now, because after tomorrow's game, at the end of the game, when the horn blows and the whistle blows, the referee blows the whistle, and who has the highest score, that's what's going to be remembered. So I want them to go in trusting one another, like I said, continuing playing good team ball, executing. I mean, just needing everyone to step up, from player one to the end of the bench, to just dig in and pull this first game off and just take it one game at a time. Take it one game at a time.
No question about it. And it's the Battle of the Borough. I mean, that has to make it even more exciting because they're certainly going to bring their folks over here. Their pet band is coming. The cheerleaders are coming. So it's going to be an electric atmosphere without question, with them coming from the west side of Greensboro over here to the east side of Greensboro. And so it's certainly going to be an exciting matchup between those two teams. As you look at this year's team, just from from your experience and from having played the game, and you would probably know what sticks out at you in terms of their strengths for this North Carolina A&T women's basketball team.
I think that Coach Robinson and his staff do a very good job preparing them for this type of postseason play. Just thinking about the strength of the schedule, he doesn't back down to anyone. He'll put anybody on the schedule who will put him on the schedule. There's a lot of teams that duck North Carolina A&T women's basketball. So I like the fact that he does go out there to put his young ladies in front of tough competition, because at this time of year, this is when they're going to know how need to be able to dig in and be able to handle the heat of the moment in this type of competition in this atmosphere.
No question about it. Talking to Samara Dobbins Johnson, from when you came to North Carolina A&T to where the women's program is now. Are you very proud to see the progress? Do you see progress? And what were some of the things that you have seen over the years that have improved in terms of women's basketball and just women's athletics overall?
Right. Most definitely proud of where the program is at this moment. You know, when Coach Abney took over as coach, um, a lot of people don't know that in his first year he had a winning season, and so he's been building on championships. He had three teams to go back to back to back regular season champions, and just building. And then finally in 1994, we was able to finally get that chip and actually get the championship for the tournament. But after that, we've had some outstanding coaches. I'm thinking about Coach Cage Bibbs came in and really took the program to the next level, being able to get those NIT postseason play if we didn't get into the NCAA's. And then her successor, Coach T. Rob, he's done a great job. I mean, it feels good, as a season ticket holder to be at every home game I possibly can be at, to just look at where the program has come, to look up in the stands and see the flags in the air with all those years of championships that have been added to the program since our team has played. So I'm definitely really proud of where they are, and it's going to only continue to go up.
Talking with point guard Supreme, Samara Dobbins Johnson. A&T plays tomorrow night in Corporate Sports Center against UNCG, 7 p.m. Start. Make sure you're there. Make sure you pack the place. UNCG is going to bring their folks. They're going to bring some excitement. So we got to bring our folks. We got to bring some excitement. Coach Rob and the ladies are practicing right now, getting ready for that big moment for North Carolina A&T. What went through your mind when you saw uh, the Aggies? You were a MEAC person. You played in the MEAC. You won a championship in the MEAC. So what was it like to see the program move away from the MEAC from your point of view?
Honestly, definitely some mixed feelings because MEAC is our home. What we played the 4 years that I was there, but definitely as a university, as administration sees fit. Sometimes there are changes, and sometimes people are uncomfortable with change. But even with the change that has taken place, I'm just so proud that the Lady Aggies have prevailed. Even when they went to the Big South, they were very successful in that conference for that short period of time. They made a name for the Aggies in that conference. And then now moving on to the CAA, just spending most of the year tied for number one. So that just says a lot for the preparation and the time that Coach Robinson and his staff have put into uh, putting the personnel in place for the team that can get the job done. So again, definitely I do miss. I'm not gonna lie, I do miss the double headers that the MEAC conference had, because they had an opportunity for everybody to get a 2-for-1 deal, come to the game on the evening and see the women and men's play and have your full crowd. But so I don't like the split crowd, so to speak. But just trying to get used to it and be there to support every time I can.
Yeah, you took it back twice, the double headers, and then driving on the same bus. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
like that was crazy. But that's kind of what it was like in Black College athletics with the SWAC and the MEAC and the CIAA, and I believe the SEIAC. I'm sure they did it too. So just
right.
kind of the way it was, and so that kind of brings back some memories, some nostalgia a little bit. But no question about that. That was good old days. Uh, Shout out to Greg Davis. I guess he's from Fayetteville. He says Fayetteville represent.
All
So
right, Fayetteville in the house.
Jeffrey Henderson. Yes, Jeffrey, it is streamed live on ncataggies.com. Tomorrow's game will not be on Flow Hoops, but it will be on ncataggies.com tomorrow. So make sure you tune in. We'll have on Donald Ware and hopefully Arlene Mitchell later on today, kind of breaking down the game. They've done all their homework. They've scouted both teams, and so they're going to give us the 411 on what we can expect tomorrow. Another Hall of Famer, Odell Benders, joining us here with an Aggie pride, no question about it. Track and field is in the building. They start their outdoor season on this weekend at High Point University at Burt Stadium, and so certainly looking forward to the Aggie track and field outdoor getting started here. And shout out to Michelle Bryce, another Aggie pride. And so we got the Aggies in the building
Yeah.
here tonight, and certainly we need you in the building tomorrow night. And for so people who don't know, Samara's husband is our analyst for our men's basketball games, along with Spencer Turkin, who's our play-by-play guy. Uh, were you okay with Walter Johnson doing the analyst because he gets a little hyper? So were you okay with that? You had some reservations?
He is a very passionate guy, especially about his alma mater, and he wants to see us be successful. Didn't have any reservations when it comes to his professionalism and getting the job done on the microphone. He does a good job. Of course, I do have to debrief with him and say, hey, remember, look, don't get too excited, though. Don't get too upset, at the same time. But I love to hear him. I love to see him in his element, and he really enjoys it.
He really does. He does an outstanding job. By the way, he has a personality and a charisma that just captures you. And some of the things I go back and listen to some of the broadcasts. He's funny. He's engaging. He knows his stuff, and he's a good person overall. Even though we debate endlessly, but that's another story in and of itself. So certainly, what is it like? You guys are a basketball family. Your daughter actually came into Corbett and played against the Aggies. I want to ask you about that and what that was like, because certainly that's your alma mater, but then again that's
Yeah.
blood. So I'm sure that's that was one thing. So what was that like for you having your daughter playing for Winston-Salem State coming in, and she had a good game, by the way. I want to point that out.
Yeah.
Coming in and playing against A&T.
It was a lot of emotion in that game. I'm not gonna lie, blood is thicker than water. So of course I had all red on that day, to represent the Winston-Salem State Rams. So of course in that particular game, I did not want the Lady Aggies to win, and I'm just being honest. But I was really extremely proud of just her whole team's effort. They played a very tough and challenging game to the Lady Aggies, and I think I only lost by about maybe 3 or 4 points, down toward the end. And like you said, very proud of my daughter, Tiara. She as a 5'1" guard, I think she was underrated, with recruiting because of her size. But what people didn't know is that she just had the heart of a lion, and she was a pit bull on that court. So she did have a pretty good game against the Aggies. So I was proud of her because I said, hey, do them in, do them in. So she finished with about 17 points, 7 rebounds, and, about 4 or 5 assists. So it was a good all around game. But then at the end of the game, when that game was over, I was back rooting for the Lady
Yeah.
Aggies.
Only a mom can remember the numbers so well. That's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
impressive. Only the mom can remember those kind of numbers. And then you have another daughter that's playing hoops right now. What is it like? I mean, you guys are pretty much, I would say, a basketball family.
Definitely.
Walter's brother was coaching over at Cornerstone where my
Hmm.
son was playing, and so certainly a basketball family. And so, what is that like in the house with the A&T and the high school and the Winston? What is that like for you guys?
Oh, it's busy. It's a very busy schedule. I actually was just talking to my middle daughter, Sequoia, who was also a baller as well. Um, and we was talking about being parents, because I want to go ahead and give a quick shout out. With Walter and I just became grandparents,
Oh
and
wow!
we was just talking
Congratulations.
about, thank you, and we was just talking about the busy schedule of being a parent. And I was talking to her about how I don't know how we made it through the year when my oldest Tiara was playing at Winston-Salem State. And then our middle daughter Sequoia, was playing high school ball at T. Wingate Andrews. And then our youngest daughter, Sanaa, was playing middle school ball at Southeast Middle. So we couldn't be at more than one place at a time. But as parents, and as basketball parents and family, we made a way that we made sure that one of us was represented at one of their games at all times. So that was a really rough year with that schedule. But being a basketball family, oh, it's a lot of debating, rumbling, arguments in the house. It's some tough conversations. But it's all for the love of it. But definitely, it's very rewarding to, after being a basketball player, and Walter played baseball for A&T, so we're both, student athletes at the college level, being able to pour into our children, and help them be successful in whatever their goals may be.
What got you into basketball? I'm curious. Who got you involved in basketball? When did you know, hey, I can do this beyond even high school? Kind of tell us
Right.
your journey to kind of getting to North Carolina A&T and being able to put on a ring as in terms of a championship.
Okay, that's a good question. I'm gonna take it way back to, I grew up in Fayetteville, North Carolina, in North Hills, and in our neighborhood, my dad put a basketball goal in our backyard, and I have an older brother, and we're about he's 5 years older, and so like everybody, all the playground legends, everybody was always in my backyard playing. And so I would just always kind of be the little brat sister hanging around, just kind of seeing what the action was about. Then finally, my brother started picking me on his team to play, and he knew I didn't know a lick of basketball. But he still had enough faith in me, confidence in me to go out there and compete and just, try, just do my best. And just being out there, I played, back then we played against a lot of boys all the time. So that just made me tougher as an athlete. So high school, I played at Reed Ross Junior High. I think my ninth grade year, I scored 50 points in one game.
Oh wow.
So I think that kind of let me know. I was like, hey, this is something I think I might can stick with, and see where I can go with it. And then went on to E. Smith Senior High, home of the Golden Bulls, and I was coached by the legendary Coach D. Major Hardy. And she's actually still the coach there now. Have a lot of respect for Coach Hardy and our assistant coach, Coach Major Williams. They really pushed us. They prepared us to be next level athletes. And I had the pleasure of being able to play with my college teammate, Angela Hill. We both came from E. Smith. Angela is a year older than me. So our high school coaches really prepared us for the next level play, and it was just great to be able to move on to college, and prove to the world, that hey, a 5'1" guard can still do what needs to be done.
Yeah, and then your daughter proved it, so that's great. I got some E. Smith love in here. John Ford giving out some E. Smith love.
Yes, yes,
I believe our women's basketball coach went to E. Smith, so I mean they are definitely
yes, he did.
yeah. So that's definitely a proud program down there in Fayetteville, and a lot of great athletics down in Fayetteville. Shout out to Warren Mitchell. He wants to mention A&T baseball, which is off to a roaring start. Man, they are
Yes,
15 and
Warren was
5.
actually my husband's teammate in baseball.
Was that
I said Warren was actually my
Warren?
husband's teammate.
Yeah, yeah, okay. I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to get some Walter Johnson baseball stories uh, from him and about him and Mike Crenshaw. I think Crenshaw, our videographer here at A&T Athletics, also plays some baseball at North Carolina A&T. So I'm sure there's some good stories to go on with there without question. So no doubt about it. So do you remember your first interaction with Tim Abney, or was it with Billy Edgerton?
From my recollection, it was definitely with Coach Abney. Like I said, Angela Hill had played for A&T, and she was able to tell Coach about me. Back in that day, it wasn't a lot of traveling and recruiting. It was a lot of word of mouth for women's basketball, and then sending the good old VHS tapes, those big old tapes that you would send in the mail. So my coaches, high school coaches, had prepared some tape for them, sent it on, and he invited me up for a tour, official visit. And I actually fell in love with it. But I will say this, prior to looking at A&T as the school of my choice, I was being highly recruited for track and field as well. And
Wow.
and UNC Chapel Hill was recruiting me for track. And at the time, I was a diehard Tar Heel fan. Like, I was just like ready to sign the dotted line on those papers. But I did have a love for basketball a little bit more. But really went up there and had a good time on my visit. I already knew somebody on the team, so that made it much easier. Um, and then, honestly, the track and field scholarship, they were offering me a partial. And Coach Abney, fortunately, offered me a full scholarship. So, of course, with the encouragement of my parents, mom and dad is like, hey,
Hey,
sign that paper right there. So, but it definitely, with trusting the guidance of my parents, it was one of the best decisions I could ever make.
what was the event? What was your event?
I was a sprinter,
Oh,
100 meter, 200 meter,
wow.
four
That's
by
cool.
one, 4x2.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
my high school team, 4x2 team, in my senior year, we won the silver medal in the 4x2. Missed it by 100 tenths of a point,
Oh, wow.
of a
Oh,
second,
wow.
excuse me.
So Abney was impressed with the speed as much as the ball handling, I'm guessing.
Right, right.
No question about it. Before we're in our playoff person, women's basketball, I wanted to ask you about, you went on to play Tennessee, and what that was like for you in terms of Pat Summit and all that Tennessee was. I mean, Tennessee was the standard back then. Certainly, UConn came along, and now you got the Iowas and Baylor's and all those kind of folks came in. South Carolina is at the top of the East game right now. But what was that? Was that scary, or was it like, hey, let's just go and have some fun?
I'm not gonna lie. That was it. It was I'm not gonna say it was a scary experience. It was like a overwhelming experience. Like, wow, we are playing, against the Lady Vols. But we just, as a team, said all we can do is go out there and give it our best. Now, we did end up making a North Carolina, I mean, an NCAA scoring history of the scoring margin. We came out very short. Pat Summit wanted to, I guess, make her point about us getting that automatic bid. However, we were still privileged and honored to be able to represent the conference. That was the first year that they did automatic bids, and we just went in there to give it our best. I do remember when we went into the gym, we had to do some press conferences, and so Angela Hill and I were selected to do the interviews, and so the interviewer asked her, when you walked into this gym, like, what did you think? And I love her response to this day. Her response said, "It's orange." So I love that because as she was a senior that year, and just her point was, hey, it's another gym. It's just an
Yeah,
orange
yeah,
gym.
that's right. That's right.
So we got to go and play ball in there just like they do. So it was a terrorizing experience as far as the scoring standpoint, but at the same time, just it was an honor to be able to have the privilege of being able to go to that game.
We're here with Samara Dobbins Johnson. Donald Ware has joined us. Shout out to Pablo Smith, gave us an Aggie Pride. So definitely want to say hello to him. Thank you for watching, no question about it. And I think you also played against Charlotte Smith, from the Elon head coach. Is that correct? In Chapel Hill.
Yes, yes, we did play against. We actually played against them the year that they won the championship. Uh, very outstanding. Charlotte Smith, outstanding player, outstanding coach. Um, I did get some more recognition that I didn't want. She was slated to be the first female to dunk in 10 years in the game that we played. When you look at the newspaper article, it always say that she intercepted a pass from point guard Samara Dobbins. So I didn't appreciate that part of it, but it still was still exciting to play those type of teams. We also it's nothing new, like with the Lady Aggies beating Wake Forest earlier this season and being very competitive toward an ACC team. My junior year, we NC State, KYL, and NC State came into our gym, and they left out of there. They got a gimme on that one. We lost by 1 point of that game. We thought we had that game in control. Controversial no call at the end of the game, and we came up short by a point. But we played some very competitive ball against those ACC teams back when I was playing.
No question. You can tell that you are used to television because that was a great transition. Because now we're going to talk about the 23-24 season with Donald Ware. Got Samara in here, and Donald, let's get you started, man. What are your thoughts on the A&T season thus far? Just kind of give us a kind of your quick thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's been a very solid season. When you talk about the CAA, it's extremely tough. I think the Lady Aggies, I still like to call them Lady Aggies, have done an absolutely tremendous job. Coach Robinson is just absolutely tremendous in what he's been able to do with this program. Came up a little bit short in the CAA, but hey, some more basketball. And when you told me, Brian, we were going to be doing this, man, I am so excited, and it's going to be a really UNCG's got a good squad. Like this is going to be a really, really good basketball.
Yeah, 21 wins for the Spartans. Certainly, they kind of similar to us. They didn't get a whole lot of respect in the preseason either. I think they were picked toward the bottom of the SoCon. Of course, we were picked 8th, which didn't really sit well with Coach Robinson and his crew. And so really kind of a lot of similarities there. They play hard. They play really tough defense all the time, similar to A&T. And like I said, they have 21 wins. We have 20. So it's going to be – I'm excited too. I think it's going to be a really, really tough ball game because of who it is and because of their location and all of those things. I think it's going to be a really, really exciting atmosphere tomorrow night, 7 p.m. You shouldn't want to miss this. And this is going to be a really exciting ball game. How do you see A&T playing as they come into this game, Donald?
I mean, look, you're talking about a win. We talk about, so this is a thing of first, postseason tournament, first 20-win season in the CAA, first win in the CAA tournament. So I thought, look, it was a tough game, obviously, with the loss in the CAA tournament. But look, I think the Lady Aggies are playing pretty well overall. You're certainly at home. I mean, that's the thing. Like A&T's at home. A&T has done extremely well at home, and I think that's going to be a tough deal. Certainly for UNCG coming in here. I'm just excited about the game. I think obviously you're going to have your bigger players really step up. Jordan Dorsey, Malia Bracone, Shania Clark's played well, especially in the tournament. She had a couple of double-doubles. So if that can happen, then Demaya Tucker, like the first time I saw Demaya Tucker play, as a matter of fact, it may have been against UNCG going back to the COVID season. And the very first time I saw her play, I'm like, this young lady can play. And she's playing extremely well. She's been consistent all year long. So I think if your bigger players step up and play, I mean, this should be a win for A&T.
Yeah, certainly. That's the last time we played UNCG during that COVID season. UNCG came away with a 49-46 win. And, of course, previously we beat them as well, 57-48. So certainly, it's going to be nip and tuck, a rivalry type game without question. You mentioned Jordan Dorsey. Last couple of games, she's found herself in foul trouble. Stony Brook, certainly one of those games. And certainly last game of the season. How important is it that she kind of stays on the floor tomorrow night for A&T to be successful?
Huge, because she means so much to this team. I mean, not only she's obviously the point guard, she's going to get, and this is the thing, Brian, if you look at her last, I don't know, maybe 10 games, the assist to turnover ratio is off the charts. Like at one time it was sort of even. Now it's well above, in the plus side of the assisted turnover piece. So, she gets to the line. She can knock down shots. But more importantly, and we've seen this from this Aggie team, especially the guards, she can rebound. She's averaging like in excess of 5 rebounds a game. So it's ultra important. Plus, she's going to, she's a heady player. She's quick. It's ultra important that she obviously be on the floor for this team.
I'm glad you mentioned that. For a guard, she's an excellent rebounder. A couple of double-doubles this year. 5 rebounds a game for a guard. That's pretty impressive. Samara, as a point guard, what do you like about Jordan's game?
Oh, I love a lot of things about her game. I actually, when the games I brought my daughter to see, my high school daughter, I say you need to pattern your style. She's very strong attacking the rim. I love her pull up jumper, perimeter shot. She commands a lot of respect on the floor. So I definitely outstanding player, outstanding athlete, and you can tell that she doesn't want to lose.
No, yeah, no question. Super competitive, and I tell her to, I talk to her from time to time. I'm like, man, you just like some players just call him a baller. She's a baller. Like she just kind of she goes out there and just balls. I mean, and plays hard, plays good defense, and she's just one of those that you would see on a in a 5-on-5 on the court, and she just goes out there and just balls. And so certainly a very exciting player, first team All CAA. I want to ask both of you. A&T is 25-11 since joining the CAA. I believe they are 36-18 since leaving the MEAC. Do you think people expected this successful leaving the MEAC, and how important is it that they've been successful after leaving the MEAC to prove that we can play in any league? And I'll start with Samar.
Most definitely. No, they didn't expect a little HBCU team to come in and be as dominant as they have been. So it's very good to see that no matter what conference we're in, we're not backing down. We're competing, and we're just letting them know, hey, we're here too. We're here to win this game as well. So the Lady Aggie program has really, really prevailed in that area.
Yeah, no, I think that maybe a lot of people didn't, but if you know Terrell Robinson, you know this was going to be a successful program. I mean, he's the all-time winningest coach in Lady Aggie history. He's done an absolutely tremendous job. And when you look at the way A&T plays the game, it's always played the game with a defensive, sort of tenacity. Maybe some people didn't expect it, but at the end of the day, again, if you know Terrell Robinson, you know he was going to get the players in. He's gotten the players in, and the Lady Aggies have just competed. So the point, Brian, you made. I mean, I didn't even understand how the team could have been picked to finish 8th in the conference. Did you see the team last year? Did you see them play? I mean, yeah, you may have lost one of your better players, but look at all that return. Plus, you knew Shania Clark was on the way. So, look, a lot of people didn't expect it, but I think A&T people did, and certainly Terrell Robinson.
Yeah, shout out to everybody. Sylvia Clapp White is going to be sitting behind Samara Dobbins, so that's going to be fun. Hope you guys have a good time with that. No, it's not A&T's first time in the WNIT. I've actually made a few appearances. Actually won 2 games in the WNIT back in 2010. They beat Wake Forest in Winston-Salem, and they beat Charlotte down in Charlotte. And so certainly not A&T's first time in the WNIT. And then Miss Hill, Women's Sports is certainly holding it down in terms of since leaving the MEAC. And so certainly I think it's Angela Hill. I think we had mentioned her earlier. So certainly shout out to you, all-time A&T Aggie legend. So certainly it's been a fulfilling ride for A&T. Donald, what does UNCG bring to the table?
Yeah, very much like A&T. In terms of the defensive presence, they've got the one thing about UNCG's guard play when you look at the numbers is that the assisted turnover ratio is on the positive side for all of the guards that really play. It's on, so they're going to protect the basketball. They like to get up and down a little bit. So look, this is when the two teams are looking at each other, in my opinion, when they're playing in this game, and that's why I think it's going to be super exciting. It's like I said, looking forward to it. But again, I think the two teams really mirror each other, and I think this is a game that's going to come down to it.
The game will air live on ncataggies.com. Bringing you the play-by-play will be Donald Ware. On the analyst side, it'll be another North Carolina A&T Sports Hall of Famer, Miss Arlene Mitchell, will bring you her analysis of the ball game. Donna, what it's been like? That tandem has been together for quite a while, you and Arlene. What's that kind of been like for you guys, and kind of how you guys been able to get your rhythm going?
It's been great. This is our second year. I enjoyed immensely. I think Arlene and I are really growing together. I mean, I think you know, Brian. I'm a radio guy, really, and so the opportunity to do TV and to learn, and like I was telling you, I know going back a couple of years ago, and you said something to me. Sam Hamlin said something to me also, which I definitely understood that. Is that you can't call a game for TV like you call it for radio. So it's not the actual play-by-play where you're giving every single play. But for me to kind of grow into it, I had to kind of do it that way. And so now, and the same thing with Arlene, she's had to we're both growing into this opportunity, which is a phenomenal opportunity. So I think we work well together. We enjoy it. And, she loosens me up a little bit. I'm serious. I mean, I'm just
she
naturally.
Does that. Yeah, you can't be sticking around all day. No, that's not going to happen. No.
You cannot. I'm just a serious. So no, I absolutely fantastic time doing these games, and I appreciate you for the opportunity.
No question. I think, like you said, yeah. I mean, when I first heard you, I was like, man, this guy I got to get him out of this radio mode because he's giving it to us blow by blow by blow, and we can see everything. So, certainly Arlene, kind of out of her element a little bit. She's of course a Hall of Famer in volleyball, and if you hear in volleyball, she's just kind of fluid with it because she just knows everything that is happening as it's happening. But she's kind of had to kind of grow into the basketball side of it, even though she did play in high school, and so certainly just working. But you guys do a great job. I get a lot of compliments about you guys, and so. Tune in tomorrow, not on Flow, but on NCATAggies.com. Should be a fun time if you can't make it out to the gym. But please try to make it out to the gym. Need to have the place packed. No question about it. I love Kelly Tomajeski. I just love her. I mean, because she just kind of keeps us up to date. But I'm guessing the MEAC has now released its postseason accolades in terms of bowling, and so Lauren Tomajeski is certainly the MEAC Bowler of the Year, and so that marks the fourth straight year that A&T has had the Bowler of the Year, dating all the way back to Strombeck, Melanie Caton, another great young lady, won it 2 years in a row, and now it's Lauren who has won it, and then Kim Terrell Kearney, Coach of the Year, so congratulations to her. And then A&T had 4 of the 5 first teamers as well. So along with Lauren, you had Katie Robb, you had Mia Avalese, and you had Chloe Newberry. So congratulations to everybody on the A&T bowling team. They're going after their 4th straight MEAC title this weekend up in Raleigh, Buffalo Lanes. So certainly a lot of excitement in A&T Athletics. Mentioned baseball, 15-5, their first CAA game is this weekend. And, of course, softball is up in Drexel, up in Philadelphia for a 3-game series of softball. And then track and field, outdoor track and field gets started. Congratulations to DeJon Bivens today. They beat Norfolk State 4-3 over at the Piedmont Indoor Center. So they're 11-1. So hand clap to A&T Athletics, no question about it. Getting it done. Certainly congratulations to Coach Kearney. So I had to take that side trip because that's where Lauren's mom took me. And so thank you for that. And certainly a great job by them. Certainly don't want to miss out on all of that going on. A&T, A&T. Donald, what's A&T's key to victory?
Yeah, I think A&T is going to definitely have to hit some shots in this game. I know it was a little bit of a tough outing in the last game, but definitely got to be able to have the players, as I mentioned, to be able to hit some shots. Got to cut back on the turnovers, I really think Clark is going to be another key in this game because you've got a couple of bigs for UNCG that can get it done down low. She has the ability to block shots. We've seen her with the double doubles. She's maybe close to 8 rebounds a game, and she's really been playing well as of late. And so I just think if A&T is able to do those things, they can come away with this victory over the Spartans.
No question about it. Samara, as you've kind of looked at A&T Lady Aggie history, is there anybody through the years that kind of reminds you of yourself? I know you kind of are unique because you're a 5'1" point guard that was able to get in and out of places and drive to the basket, had that speed. But anybody remind you of the way you played, either on this current team or in previous teams?
I would say previous teams, the closest one that I would think is a point guard by the name of Mia Glover. And she was actually the one who took over my most assist records, leading assist record for the program. She was kind of about a short guard as well, very quick, very pretty good shooter. So if I had to think of somebody, she would be the one.
It's a good name. I haven't thought of that name in a long time,
It's
but
a
she was really
throwback
good.
right there.
Her throwback name. She could score too. I mean, Mia could score
Yeah, she could.
as well as Disher. Yeah, that's a really good name. And of course, Terrell's kind of had the bigger guards. Tawana Cook comes to mind a little bit when you think about some of the big guards that he's had. She was quick too, going down memory lane, but she was lightning quick too. Certainly
was super fast.
super fast with the ball in her hand. She was super fast with the ball in her hand. But certainly some great guards that have come through here, no question about it. Donald, give us a reason to want to come see this ball game tomorrow between these two teams.
The two teams are right in the city. That's the thing about it. Like, when I was talking, I had a chance to talk with Coach Patterson a little bit this morning, the head coach for UNCG, and I said rivalry, but I mean the fact of the matter is the two teams hadn't played to the point since the COVID year, so it's not as much a rivalry as it is the proximity of the two schools. So I think that Club Corbett is lit in of itself, right? So just to come to Club Corbett is a reason in of itself. Then you bring an excellent basketball team in the Lady Aggies. You're bringing a good basketball team in terms of UNCG. You're in the city. I mean, look, I'm expecting that place to be packed out tomorrow. And it just promises to be an excellent basketball.
Yeah. Both pet bands will be there. So that's going to be a sight to see. Certainly, and they'll both be on the floor, I believe. And then you'll have both cheerleading squads there. So that's going to be shout out to Coach Pickett, cheerleading coach. And so that's going to be outstanding as well. And so you're just going to have a really good atmosphere. You're going to have a really good basketball game. Do you have a player to watch on UNCG side?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a player. I want to make sure I pronounce her name correctly. Ayana Kafani. As a matter of fact, I mean, this young lady can really, really get it done. She's a forward, so she's going to give you the rebound. She's shooting at a high clip in terms of the field goal percentage. She's right at about 45% or so, averaging double figures. So she's definitely one of the players to watch. And then Jade Gamble, she's the leading scorer actually for UNCG, a guard. And I mentioned that guard play is really, really good. But you're talking about two young ladies that were first and second team all conference. So I think those are the main two players to watch. But, UNCG has got a couple of other players as well.
No question. What do you think some of the key moments this season was for A&T? Certainly they went on the long winning streak. We had a tough double overtime loss to Monmouth. Certainly that was tough, but you had the win over Wake Forest. So what were some of the highlights as you saw them in the season for A&T?
One of them, this may sound crazy, but I think for me, the tone was sort of set in the first game of the season against Georgia. Like, I know it was a loss, but I mean, look, A&T had an 8-point lead against Georgia in that game. I think the sort of the winning streak, I think, the home winning streak was sort of one of those things, I think, that kind of really stands out to me. I'm going to tell you, it was a play, and I think it was the game against Hofstra, if you remember, when Jordan Dorsey stole the ball, took it all the way back the other way, did a Euro step, made the bucket, and got fouled. I mean, that just was to me the epitome of who she is, to the point I think that you made a little bit earlier. The type of player that she is, the grittiness. I think even the previous possession, it may have been a turnover. She went and got it back and did all of that. That's something that kind of stood out to me. Of course, the win against Wake Forest. I mean, anytime you can beat, a Power 5 team, and to your point, Brian, it's not anything new, right? In terms of even beating Wake Forest, not anything new for the Lady Aggie program. But it's hard to pinpoint like one thing. It was just so many things in terms of what A&T has been able to do this season.
The thing that stood out for me was you had the preseason favorite come into the gym, Townsend. For Coach Robinson to call that pin down and that pop out for Shania Clark to hit that three-pointer, that one really stuck out to me. That play was called for her, and it was an excellent play. I mean, because it was either Dorsey or Bracone. Everybody chased the shooter to the corner, and left Shania wide open. And to your point, for him to have that confidence in her to step out and hit that three-point shot, I thought was absolutely incredible. And she nailed it. I mean, she just absolutely nailed it. I think that was the shot that sent it in overtime, and then we just kind of took over the game in the overtime. But that one just kind of sticks out for me because of the confidence he showed in her to be able to hit that clutch shot in that clutch moment. So that's just kind of one that really stands out for me. I don't know if you have one, Samara.
I just wanted to say, might I add, Don Staley must have stole that play from Coach T-Rob for that SEC semifinal victory when Cardoso stepped out there and took that victory.
That's a good point.
So that was definitely a very good play call. I've really seen some very good basketball from the Lady Aggies. I've seen some games where we started off slow and built some momentum going into the fourth quarter. I've seen some games where we would play a great first half and then come out a little slow third block. But, going into this game tomorrow, I think it's going to be so important that they play two good halves. They don't have room to slack in any quarter of this game. And if they could go out and give it 4 quarters effort as a team, then the Lady Aggies will prevail and move on to the next round.
No question. And they've had some injuries this year. I mean, no question about it. So for them to kind of have 20 wins the way they do, they haven't really had Lavasi Taylor. They haven't had Nia Willis for most of the season. And so for them to kind of be able to do this, and they developed some players along the way. Kiana Curtis has kind of come on off the bench a little bit for A&T, and certainly Leah Acox is going to be huge tomorrow. I just think she's going to be huge in terms of just giving them that energy coming off the bench, and some of that scoring punch that she can give them coming off the bench. And then, the name we haven't mentioned, but it's probably the future of A&T basketball, Paris Locke. She's just kind of she can play multiple positions for you, which becomes a matchup nightmare for a lot of opponents. What have you thought about her performance this year, Donald?
Oh, tremendous. Look, I think, and it's grown. Like to me, when I saw Demaya play for the first time, I was like, yes. But when I look at Paris over the course of the season, she has just progressed. All rookie team, right, in terms of the CAA, which I think is really, really big. And I think, to your point, when she was inserted into that starting lineup, that was sort of when A&T, it just became different for the Lady Aggies once she got sort of inserted into that starting lineup. She's tough as nails. She's from Baltimore. She is you mentioned future, but she's also the now, because she may be the X factor. I mentioned Shania Clark, but she could in fact be the X factor in this game against UNCG.
No question. Can't forget about Talia Davis. Had a big 3-point shooting game against at Elon. So certainly she's going to play a factor for us tomorrow. I want to ask you, Samara, about Malia Bracone. She came here for her offense, no question about it, but 2-time all defensive team. How tough is it to exert that kind of energy on defense and then have to come back and people are depending on you to score the ball?
Oh, very tough. You got to be in tip-top condition. So she has done a excellent job in that area, especially defensive. I know sometimes offensive shooter, they're going to have some slumps sometimes. But what I do like about it, she's not afraid to continue shooting, and to get back into that rhythm so that she can help her team. And I actually think that she will be the X factor for this game. If she has a good shooting night, I definitely think it's going to make that much more easy for the Lady Aggies to roll on to the next game.
No question. Miss Hill called Paris Lott the X Factor. You just called Malia Bracone the X Factor. So hopefully we'll have 2 or 3 or 4 X Factors along the way, and we can get a win. If A&T wins, they play again on Sunday, and I do believe that's going to be here as well in Corbett on Sunday night. And if they win again, it's Friday, but we can't look ahead. But certainly, if we win tomorrow night, probably can look ahead to another home game on Sunday night here at Corbett Sports Center. So it's going to be really exciting. Any closing statements here, guys, as we go into tomorrow, 7 p.m., exciting time. Any closing statements for you, Donald?
You mentioned bowling. Baseball is rolling. Track and fields been rolling. And the Lady Aggies are playing. In terms of the excitement in the time at North Carolina A&T, it's absolutely tremendous. Hey, I think a lot of people look at the whole HBCU thing and all of that. Look, this is a team or a program or a school that is just continue to get it done no matter what conference, even in the Big South. So it's a tremendous time. I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. I'm looking forward to the game on Sunday. I'm looking forward to the game the following Friday. That's how I'm calling this thing. And again, when you called me, man, I was just I didn't expect it. I gotta be honest with you. I didn't expect it. I didn't know. But look, you got a 20-win season in a tough CAA conference. I didn't know when you called me. Look, whatever plans I may have had on the back burner, let's get down to Greensboro on Friday and get this victory and then continue on.
And some good HBCU basketball being played on the women's side. Jackson State, shout out to them. Norfolk State, shout out to them. When you talk about women's basketball HBCU programs, those are the 3 elites: A&T, Jackson State, Norfolk State, no question about it. And so, wanted to give them some love for their seasons, and certainly, and we can't forget spring football is actually happening. So that's kind of crazy. They've got all this going on, and spring football is playing. And so, looking forward to the excitement of A&T football coming up. Spring game is April 13th, 1 o'clock at Truist Stadium. And so, we're looking to blow that up too, looking to have that be a big deal. Exciting time. Great day to be in Aggie land, as a famous person can say. But Samara, any closing comments for you?
As my husband and I sit around and talk about basketball championship teams and things of that nature, one of the things I said was good teams are remembered, championship teams are never forgotten. So it's just awesome that the Lady Aggies have an opportunity to start their postseason play in their own gym for at least 2 games, because we're going to win tomorrow and we got to get to Sunday and then we got to get to the next and to the next. So I'm really looking forward for this opportunity for them to never be forgotten as one of the greatest teams to come through this program.
No question. Let's go win it. Let's go win it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Pack out Club Corbett.
Yeah,
let's pack Club Corbett out.
And let's go win the whole thing and just have some fun with it. But certainly, thank you guys for joining us. You guys are wonderful. I hope you see you out there in the gym tomorrow, cheering as hard as you can, cheering the Lady Aggies on to victory, no question about it. Shout out to Arlene. I know she had something going on, but she will be in the building tomorrow. And so, we're just super, super excited. I'm like you, Donald. I'm just ready to tip it off. I'm really looking forward to that. And hopefully, on Sunday, the bowling team can bring back another MEAC championship. And so it's going to be an exciting weekend.
Can I do one more shout out?
One more shout out. Let's go.
One more shout out. I can't leave this interview without shouting out the 1994 MEAC champions, the men's and women's program, my basketball sisters and my basketball brothers. Love you all.
Love you all. Love you all. Thank you for the history. Thank you for the trophies. Thank you for your hard work. Certainly, we got a few more gray hairs, but back then we were doing it big. You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
no question about it. B More was in the building, and A&T got it done, and that was just a magical time. Both teams in the NCAA tournament. We'd love to see that happen again. But for now, WNIT, here we go. Tomorrow night. Thank you to my guests. We'll see you next time.
Thank you
Hopefully,
for having me.
no question. Hopefully with another WNIT win in our back pocket. Have a good night, everybody. Enjoy.